Snow fell silently over the dark woods. A young woman lay bleeding, her breaths faint, her tears freezing on her cheeks. Her phone screen flickered beside her, no signal, no help, only silence. Just when her eyes began to close, headlights cut through the storm. A car stopped, the door slammed, a tall figure stepped out, his coat whipping in the wind. The Mafia Boss. "Who did this to you?" he whispered, his voice trembling with fury, as he lifted her from the snow. Snow drifted from the black sky like ashes, carried by a wind that bit through bone. The road was empty, silent except for the faint crunch of footsteps and the weak, uneven sound of someone breathing. Amelia stumbled forward, clutching her side where the warm blood refused to stop. Her dress was torn, her fingers blue from the cold, her lips trembling with words she could no longer say. The forest around her blurred into a swirl of white and shadow. Every step sent fire through her veins, but she kept moving, because stopping meant death, and she wasn't ready to die, not yet. The headlights of the car that had left her there were long gone. The laughter of the men she once trusted echoed faintly in her mind, haunting her more than the pain. They had promised to help her, promised to keep her safe, and when she found out the truth, when she realized what they had done, they'd driven her out into the snow and left her to bleed. She had screamed after them until her voice cracked, but the only answer had been silence. Now the cold was creeping in, wrapping her body in numbness. She fell to her knees, her hands sinking into the snow. The world tilted, sound faded, and her vision dimmed. The stars above looked blurred and far away. She tried to call for help, but her voice was just a whisper, swallowed by the storm. Her heartbeat slowed. For a moment, she wondered if anyone would find her, if anyone would even care. Then, in the distance, came the hum of an engine. Faint at first, then louder, closer. Headlights cut through the falling snow, sweeping across the road until they stopped on her still form. A car door slammed, and boots pounded against the frozen ground. A man's voice shouted over the wind, deep and commanding. "Hey, are you hurt? Stay with me." She tried to lift her head, but her strength was gone. The world around her spun. She felt hands, large, strong, steady, lift her gently from the snow. "No, no, don't close your eyes," the man's voice murmured, closer now, softer. "You're not dying here." His coat brushed against her face, heavy and warm, carrying the faint scent of leather and smoke. Her lips parted. Why are you helping me?" she managed to whisper. He looked down at her, snow melting against his dark hair, his eyes glinting like steel. "Because I don't leave people to die," he said, his tone firm, final. "Not even strangers." He carried her to his black car, his movements fast and precise, every gesture filled with quiet urgency. As he wrapped his coat around her trembling body, she caught a glimpse of a silver ring on his finger, engraved with a crest she recognized. The Romano family, the name that ruled the city in whispers. Her rescuer wasn't just a man. He was the man, the Mafia Boss. And as the car sped into the storm, Amelia's last thought before darkness claimed her was a question that would change everything. Why would someone like him save someone like me? The first thing Amelia felt when she woke was warmth. Not the biting heat of fever or the chill of the snow she'd nearly died in, but real warmth. A heavy blanket covered her up to the chin, and somewhere nearby a fire crackled softly. Her eyelids fluttered open to the dim glow of amber light reflecting off marble floors. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. The ceiling above her was high, the air faintly scented with cedar and smoke. Her last memory, the snow, the blood, the headlights, rushed back all at once. Panic seized her chest, and she tried to sit up, but pain lanced through her side. "Easy." The voice was calm but firm, the kind that carried command even in a whisper. She turned her head and froze. The man from the snow sat nearby, dressed now in a dark shirt with the sleeves rolled up, his sharp eyes fixed on her. He didn't look like the kind of man who smiled easily. There was power in his stillness, danger in the way he didn't need to raise his voice. "You're safe," he said, setting a cup of tea on the table beside her. "You lost a lot of blood. My doctor took care of you." Amelia stared at him, her heart pounding. "Where am I?" "My home," he replied simply. "You were half dead when I found you. It wasn't an option to leave you there." She glanced around the room, the tall windows framed by heavy curtains, the fire reflecting on polished glass. Everything about the place screamed wealth and control. She swallowed hard. "You're Alessandro Romano," she said quietly, her voice trembling around the name. "The papers, the stories, they say. He cut her off with a slight tilt of his head. They say a lot of things, he said evenly. Some true, most not. But none of that matters right now. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. Tell me, Amelia, who left you to die in that snow? Her breath caught. You know my name. I checked your ID while the doctor worked, he said. Now tell me who hurt you. Tears stung her eyes before she could stop them. Her hands trembled as she clutched the blanket. It was people I trusted, she whispered. People I thought were protecting me. I found out something I wasn't supposed to see. They said they'd take me somewhere safe, but they drove me out there instead. Alessandro's jaw tightened, his expression darkening. Names, he said quietly. She hesitated. You wouldn't understand. They're dangerous. A humorless smile flickered across his lips. You think I don't know dangerous? He leaned closer, his voice dropping low. I've buried more devils than you can imagine. Whoever they are, they won't touch you again. For the first time, she saw something behind his coldness, a promise. A dangerous, unbreakable promise. Amelia looked into his eyes and whispered, Why are you helping me? He held her gaze for a long moment before replying, Because once, someone saved me when I didn't deserve it. Maybe this is how I return the debt. Outside, snow fell silently against the windows, but inside, for the first time in years, Amelia felt safe. She didn't yet know that the night he found her had changed both their lives forever, or that her past and his were about to collide in ways neither could escape.